there guys, John Campea here. Thanks for visiting my movie vlog, and I wanted to give my quick thoughts on Gotham Season 4, the first 2 episodes. Gotham is one of these shows where the first season, maybe Season 2, I wasn't so thrilled with. It started getting better to me, but I have never been completely thrilled with the series, I'll admit right up front. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was terrible, but I thought it was okay, like just good enough to keep watching the next episode. This season so far, though, I've got to say, they have stepped it up. They've been taking some chances and risks on things and getting into some issues that I think make it more than just, oh, look, it's the nice little kind of toy idea of, look, it's a comic book show, but it's on TV. Like, it takes it beyond that shtick and actually makes it something pretty interesting worth watching. The weakest part to me about the first couple of episodes, and I'll get this part out of the way first, is the whole Scarecrow angle. Number one, it feels incredibly rushed. Number two, it's Scarecrow. I should be feeling dread and like wild fear over this character and what he can do. Instead, he just strikes me as a scared little boy. And maybe part of that is what the TV producers want him to feel like right now, but it's hard to get invested into it when I just find him a little bit annoying and silly, and every second that they spent on the Scarecrow storyline in the first couple episodes, I kind of thought were wasted minutes. And I'm not totally against it, but one of the other things I'm really kind of feeling uncertain about right now is the way they are hyper rushing along the, hey, this Bruce Wayne kid, everybody, he becomes Batman. And I get it, some people, including some friends of mine, have said things like, oh, Gotham's dumb because it's a Batman show without Batman. I always thought the premise and the idea of Gotham was really great. The idea of focusing on Jim Gordon, not the superhero, the cop. But it does feel like the producers of the show are caving to the pressure a bit, and they feel like, okay, we got to rush along this Batman thing. All of a sudden now, Bruce is a ninja, and all of a sudden now, Fox gives him what is the early precursor to the Batsuit. Look, everybody, look, he's becoming Batman. And again, I'm not totally against that yet. I'm going to give it a chance to see where they're going with it. I just don't want them to change the DNA of this show, that ultimately this show is about Gotham and it's about Jim Gordon. And I just hope they don't change that too much. And if they do change it, they make it somewhat believable that I can swallow it. Yes. It's a comic book show. I get that. You have to suspend some disbelief, but at least operate within the rules your own show has set up. If they can do that in such a way, then I'll be on board with it. We got to give it a few more episodes to play out to see how that comes about. But besides those minor things, there are some things they've done in the first couple of episodes that have really impressed me. Let me start with some of the smaller ones. First of all, the return of Barbara Keene. I thought that was great and pretty much a surprise. I haven't been keeping my ear to the ground about what's everything going on with Gotham, so I didn't know she was coming back. That was a pleasant surprise to me. Seeing her and Tabitha and Selena, maybe even Poison Ivy, despite whatever, oh no, there's suddenly there's magical potions in Gotham, whatever. We're seeing the girl power thing start to come together, and I, for one, am totally intrigued with that. I want to see what this new faction starts to bring to the table for the show. It could be really cool. But there are two things that I really love about this season of Gotham so far. Let me start with the second biggest one. And the second biggest one is this, is that Gordon, despite being the hero of the show, they're rolling the dice and taking chances and showing, you know what? With all of his bravado and all of his Boy Scout honor, he's not perfect and he's making mistakes, and he's got Harvey there to point them out. I have been loving those scenes where Harvey of all people, is having to reel Jim in and say, look, this is a war. It's not a battle. Sure, we both could have run off to the asylum and tried to take them all down, but then I would have lost this group of people, these cops, and we need an army. I was willing to sacrifice this battle so we can win the war. And Jim, you got to be focused on the big picture. And I love how Jim is not a stubborn hero. He's listening and he's realizing that despite all of his best intentions, sometimes Jim makes the wrong decision. But the element of the first couple of episodes that has me as a viewer most excited, Penguin has introduced this whole idea about a license to commit crime, letting just criminals do whatever they want. Well, that's horrible. But the conundrum comes where the Penguin points out, but by me doing this, crime has gone down, like, what was it, 70%? I can't remember the exact number, but for argument's sake, let's say 70%. Crime has gone down 70%. Yes, it's awful that we give people like criminals a license to commit crime and victimize people and just let them get away with it. But on the other hand, the overall amount of crime that has happened has been more than cut in half in the city. That's a conundrum. Like, imagine in our real world for just a second. Let's say somebody came along and said, you know what? We're going to give a license to these X number of killers, and these killers are going to be allowed to go around and kill X number of people every year without any fear of reprisals. But The trade-off is nobody will die this year of cancer. So yes, X number of people will get murdered and die, but overall, like 80% less people are going to die needlessly this year. How do you deal with that? Like really, it's more than a black and white picture. There's a lot of area in gray in there. If you're a cop in Gotham and you realize, oh, there's a way, just like that, reduce crime in the city by 70%, but it means allowing some of these scumbags to do some terrible things. I don't know that I have an easy way to answer that question. So while I haven't really liked the scarecrow stuff in the first couple of episodes, and the jury for me is still a little bit out on the whole, look everybody, Bruce Wayne becomes Batman, which yes, we know. But the jury's out on that. I'm not totally against it. Let's wait and see how that transpires. Things like the Barbara Gordon thing, this new fraction of characters coming together with Tabitha and Barbara and Selena, maybe Poison Ivy, who knows what they do with that. The whole new dynamic between Jim and Harvey and the way they're making those things go, I think is really great. And especially the fact that this show is willing to put the audience in the middle of a tough decision. What's worse, letting 70% more crime happen or letting these few criminals run wild and do their own thing? I love what Gotham is doing so far. Now look, the rest of the season may be terrible, might be utter crap, I don't know, but I got to admit, so far, this series, which I've been lukewarm on up till now, I'm really intrigued with season 4 so far, and I cannot wait to see next week. But the real question here is, what have you thought about Gotham season 4 so far? Have you noticed some of the changes that I've seen? What are the things that interest you the most? What are the things you dislike about the first 2 episodes? What are the things you love? Jump into the comments section below and leave me your thoughts. And listen, guys, while you're here, why don't you take a second, click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. Make sure you're following me on social media, simply @JohnCampea. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until the next video, bye-bye.